We are gathered here today. Two people that I've known that have done renewal calls for quite some time now. So they've gone through the initial hump where it's really hard. They've had the months where it's hard. And I wanted them to speak very kind of owner to owner a little bit about why renewal calls are the way to go and why, even if they're hard, that they're the strategy to start with. Gina, I'll let you make your introduction first.
Okay, hello, insurance world. My name is Gina Clevenger, and I am part owner of Clevenger Insurance Agency. We have two locations. We also have four VAs, and we hired Kelly 7 years ago to
Oh my gosh, I'm not
revamp.
that old. Stop.
7 years ago to revamp our agency. I've been in the business for 15 years, and essentially our retention was awful, and we created followed the retention program that Kelly followed for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, it's easier to retain what you have than to write new business. And within a year, our retention upticked 4 points, which equates to hundreds of thousands of dollars, and also, higher contingencies with our carriers. We did it for E&O purposes to protect our clients and to protect our agents with conversations that they had. And our call volume reduced by about 40% for incoming calls because people weren't calling us saying, "Oh my gosh, my insurance went up. What's going on? Hey, my insurance went up. I just got my bill. What is this? Hey, I got this letter in the mail. What is this?" So we were being proactive and reaching out to them before the renewal posted. So the conversation wasn't even about cost. We just talked about their coverages, industry trends, make sure that their contact information is up to date, and most importantly, building rapport with them. But the domino effect that it created were cross-selling on when they had businesses, upselling for toys, higher coverages, and also, different lines of insurance, maybe an umbrella or a life insurance policy. And then the last benefit that we found was the way our agency operates is not one agent is assigned to a specific book of business. All personal line agents can handle all personal line clients because at any point, one of us could win the lottery. We could get sick. We could get hired to our dream job. And we want every single client to be able to call in and have time of service at the time that they call in. And not only did it allow that ability, but it also, every single year, a different set of eyes looked at the account. So the client got to meet more team members, so they felt more confident in the team that was working for them. And we also had a second set of eyes look at it. So if they had any recommendations or they saw any gaps in coverage, they could do that. It wasn't the same look every single year, so it became mundane. Every single year, really, it became a situation where we could upsell and create better rapport.
Awesome. And how about you, Miss Stacy Cholis?
So I am Stacy Cholis. I am part owner of Foothills Insurance. We've been doing this, I think we're on year 25. For years, we were looking for a way to figure out how to contact each one of our clients, and there was just no good way to get our brain around it. When we found Kelly, she had the perfect way to not only get in touch with the clients, but in a way that was structured, was organized, was thoughtful and intentional in every single step of the process. And the first benefit was it gave our team the confidence to be able to do that and to be able to reach out, have the prep done properly without it taking 5 years, because it was really easy to get lost. It was when you call them, how you call them. It was exactly what to say, exactly each step of the way. And that gave my team the confidence to be able to do it and not be scared of it. We have purchased a couple of books of business over the years. And every time we purchase a new one, there's so much information in the background that is incorrect. And this gives you the opportunity to correct all of that in a systematic way instead of trying to contact everybody immediately. We just do it on renewal. We introduce ourselves, the agency, and that, just like Gina said, decreases the E&O, but it also increases the comfort that the clients have with us because they recognize, hey, here's what we have. Let's confirm it. Let's go through it. So it's not just an E&O thing. It's the comfort that the clients have with us because they know that we are going to reach out to them proactively, and they have that opportunity. If they forget to call us, they still call us to update things, obviously. But there are things that slip through the cracks that you don't know that this kid went off to college 6 years ago if you're not calling them every year, but we do, and we're keeping up on top of those things. So I would say that is the second huge benefit, is the accuracy that goes on and the comfort that the clients have with us. And then, of course, yeah, for sure, it's retention. Our retention is improved. We have a pretty high retention to begin with because we are referrals only, but our retention continues to go up. But it's not just old policies that are retained. They're retained within the agency, even if they're rewritten, to be done the right way.
It's focused on retention, but we've also used it as a sales tactic for new business. Hey, every single year, every single client gets a renewal call. Or you drive the wedge. Hey, when your agent calls you yearly, what recommendations do they have? They don't call us yearly. Oh, we do.
We had an agency. They're like, the aha moment I had when I knew we had to do this was I win business from people who tell me they haven't heard from their agent in several years. And I had this moment driving back from a sold deal, and I was like, we don't do that. It was like, I have to figure this out. So I think you guys are talking about all the good stuff, right? Because it's been so many years since you did it, which is why I wanted both of you to have this conversation. I think it's really important we spend just a few minutes, getting it started is not easy. It's rocky. It's a lot of work, but it has a huge payoff, which is why a lot of people don't do it. And I just wanted to say, I'll throw my thoughts out there and then you guys can chime in. I think a lot of times people don't believe their staff can do it. And so, or their staff's going to quit if we make them do it. And it sort of just hurts my heart because I'm like, what are we here for as an independent channel if we're not here to serve our customers and not be the automated option? And I think we have such a broken mentality on the ability to do it. And I love, Gina, you said your calls dropped, but what advice would you give agency owners who are either thinking about making this or trying to do it? And man, the staff is just throwing a lot of resistance their way.
We had some resistance we've always done it this way. And it was overwhelming when you look at the fact that we have, I don't even know how many renewal calls we have every month. There are times that you look at that list and it is overwhelming. But after they decided to just focus on one call at a time, instead of looking at I think we have 100 calls this week to make because this is just a heavy week. That's just what it is. Instead of looking at the full list of them and realizing they have 7 to do each day this week, they just look at the one call at a time. I think that took the overwhelming piece of it out of it for them. And then they were scared about the prep time because in the beginning, the prep time is hard. You're figuring out where to find things. Not everybody labels everything the same way. Once they worked through that and they figured out where to find everything, I think that also took that fear away of the time commitment. We have one that still dives too deep. It's just what she does. But I give her the ones that I know need some deep diving so that I give her a little less because I know hers are going to be intense. I give her a lot of mono lines and they still take a long time.
Just so everybody knows who might not be familiar, we talk a lot about in the course, you have to snorkel, not scuba dive. So they're getting ready for calls. This should be like a 5-minute get ready for a call, not like an underwrite, scrub the account because you might not get the person on the phone. You just need to get kind of prepped up. But I think that is a huge piece of that I've seen both of you guys do of taking a leadership role in this program too, of hey guys, it's a heavy week. Ice cream Sundays on Friday if we get there, or I'm going to give this person these calls because they're better at them, and other ones where I think a lot of agencies fail renewal calls because it's just sort of here you go, I'm out. But Gina, what do you think?
I think that agency owners just need to embrace the suck. I mean, we've had 5 acquisitions in 5 years and we had heavy turnover. I mean, and it's not just because of the retention program. When you do an acquisition or you change anything, you're going to have resistance to change. But as a leader, you are in that position to navigate the rough waters, to be profitable, and to help your team work to their potential and share their gifts and talents with our clients. And if we play on fear, if we let our feelings get involved, well, what if this? Well, what if that? Let's spin it differently. Our agency always says, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen if we go all in with this retention process? Don't tweak it. Don't half beep it. Do it to the program that Kelly built because there is success behind it. What's the worst that can happen if we don't try it? I could see a lot more negatives coming from you not evolving as an agency and building a retention program than a negative of 1 year embracing the suck. You maybe lose an employee or two, but you can rebuild that. You can restructure that. You can hire VAs. You can put workflows in process to help with the retention calls. But you have to appoint somebody in the agency that is a cheerleader, and that typically needs to be a leader in position. Another one of our rules is the Michael Jordan rule. I'm not going to ask our team to do anything I wouldn't do. It doesn't mean I'm not going to make retention calls every day. I'm not going to do that because I'm building the business. But it means that I will make a retention call because I believe in it, and I will train and I will coach them and I will listen in, but I'm not going to make them do anything I wouldn't do. And I believe in it. So they got to follow our lead. We're in that position. We're the leader, and it's very successful.
I know what you said too, like, hey, losing people. So this like terrifies a lot of people, right? Like I'm already short.
And we're the perfect example of like, every time we have an acquisition, we lose 9 out of 10 people every time. So we've completely rebuilt and we've survived. We're still here.
Well, and a lot of times like they're underneath a different reign and then they come into here and either they're not qualified to work at your level, right? Or they're not a good cultural fit, or they're living in the glory days of the past with the owner that was golfing 3 days a week and they got away with a lot. But I also feel like in my heart, if I really think about it, do you want someone on your team that's not willing to proactively reach out to your customers to make sure that they're taken care of? Because if that's their sticking point, that they don't want to call customers and say, hey, I just want to make sure you're getting all your discounts and you have your updates and we have the policy right. Like maybe they're on the wrong seat in the bus, need to be in the back corner, like processing or, not talking to humans. You have to have caring for people in this industry. Otherwise, you're not going to be successful.
100% agree. And it's not the retention program on why they're going to quit. It's the mindset. So you can't expect a team member to have the same growth mindset as a business owner, but you can't expect them to try. And if they're not willing to try, that's problematic, because I would assume that a retention program is not the only thing that's going to change in the next 5 years. I mean, hell, there could be self-driving cars and that's going to change the insurance world. I mean, you have to have that mindset and they got to be willing to try. What's the worst that can happen if they try? It's a long-term strategy too. It's not a short-term thing. It's not, we're going to do it for 3 months and quit. You got to commit to it for a year, or at least we did. We had to commit to it for a year and being consistent with it. But like Stacy said, you can break it down by month, by day, and have mini celebrations to make sure, everyone continues on that path.
I think also the first year is the hardest, and that's where you really have to make sure, because after that it gets a lot easier. Well, I appreciate you guys hopping on. Just final words, right? If you're looking and you're saying, hey, because obviously as we're shooting this, the rates are going sky high. We're in a market where the underwriting guidelines are very difficult right now and tightening as we shoot this right now. And I've been encouraging agency owners, it's like, this is the gift your staff needs. It will be harder, but right now they're drowning and they're frustrated and they don't have the tools to have a conversation necessarily about rate, and they're getting burned out. And then if they're burned out, they're taking that out on either on each other, which is destroying your culture, or on your customers. So while it seems like this is the worst time to do it, there are people out there like you guys have been doing it for years that are now in a position of, I think, strength and power, because your customers are used to this. So now they don't call you and be like, why would you people raise my rates? They're like, I got the increase. I know building costs are up. It's a different conversation. That's kind of what I want to stress to everybody is, you've been doing this. It's a different conversation that these agencies are having than agencies that are not proactive right now. Yes, I'm sure there's the crispy person in there every now and again that you guys deal with, but it's not the whole mass of them. So final words, when we start with Stacy.
I would say, give it a try, but you have to give it a valiant effort, and you have to go in knowing you're going to increase the trust with your clients, which overall builds you the business that you really want to build.
Good final word.
I would say Just do it. Rip the Band-Aid off. And the reason it needs to be through APP is because they give you the tools, the scripts, the workflows, the timeline, the execution of the program. It's no secret sauce. Every insurance agent should be doing reviews. The secret sauce is in how the program is built and how it's going to work into your operation. And that's what APP did for us.
I have not paid them to say this, by the way. Just but thank you. That's very, very kind of you. And I will say this, account managers like structure. So if you're doing anything, the more structure you can give them, the better it's going to be received by them. They do not like kind of like the free willy, like here's a list, call some people. They're like, what? Tell me how to succeed. So thank you guys for this. And I wish you guys a great Tuesday.